Kajabi is an amazing website design platform right out of the box, but some of us want a little bit more customization, especially when it comes to font styles. Now, there's actually two ways that you can add your own custom fonts to Kajabi. You can use Google Fonts, or you can upload your own free or paid font file. In this video, I'm going to show you the second method of how to upload your own downloaded font file. But if you want to load a Google font instead, which is actually a lot easier and faster than this method, then check out my other video tutorial on that method. Now, it's important to note that this method of loading a custom font is for your entire site, as in all of your pages. If you want to load a font for only one single landing page, then head over to my other video tutorial on loading a custom font for a single landing page. Now, let's jump into the tutorial. So before we start doing anything in Kajabi, we need to make sure that we have a couple of things ready. So the first thing we need is our actual font file. So we want to make sure that's on our desktop or in a downloads folder or somewhere accessible, because we're going to need to put that into Kajabi. And then you're also going to need to have the script code available to be able to copy. And so you'll be able to get that script below the video. So have the font file ready to go and the script ready. So I've got my font file here on my desktop. Now, it's important that the font file is extracted from the zip file, because often when you download a font file, it comes zipped up like you can see here, and you're going to want to make sure that you get the actual file out of the zipped folder. So you want to extract it out. So I've done that here. I have the actual font file here. If I open it, you can see this is the font file. So that's all good and ready to go. So once you have your file ready and you've got your script handy, I do have it here on my screen ready for us to go. So we're going to hop into our Kajabi site. And the very first thing that we're going to want to do in our Kajabi site is actually create a blank landing page. The reason for this blank landing page is we're going to use it as what we would call like an assets page, a page where we can actually upload the font file. So it's a way to be able to get the file into our Kajabi site. It's not going to be a live page. Nobody's going to see it. It's just a place to upload the file to Kajabi, so we can actually get a link to the file. So you'll see what I mean as we put this together. So first thing is, let's just create that blank page. Doesn't need to be fancy, and we're just going to call it assets page and just put a note in it not to delete it. You're going to want to use this for other things in Kajabi too. So let's just create that page. We don't need to do any design on this at all. We're just using it to be able to upload the font file. So once this page loads up here, Kajabi is going to give us some default blocks in here already to go. So that'll help us out. We don't need this image block. So let's actually just get rid of that so it's out of our way. And we're just going to use this text block right here. So the first thing that we're actually going to do is we're going to put in the name of the font here. And we want to put in the exact name. So if we open up the font file here, the font name, this is my exact font name. There's no space between high and school. Whatever font you're using, you need this spelt exactly the same in order for all of this to work. So let's put that in here. I'm going to delete all of that out, and I'm going to put in high school. So the exact name there. Next, I'm going to highlight that, and I'm going to change it to the heading style of heading 1. In this tutorial, if you do it in one of the other headings, it's not going to matter. But for just simplicity, let's put it as a header 1, so an H1 styling. And then we're going to go and turn on the call to action button. All right. So for that call to action button, it doesn't really matter what you name it. I like to just call it font file because that's what I'm going to attach to it, just so I know, especially if I'm going to use an assets page for a bunch of other uploads. It just keeps things organized. Next, I'm going to go to the button action, and I'm going to tell it to download a file. So let's pick the file that we want to attach to that CTA button. And this is where I'm going to drop in my font file. So again, making sure that it's unzipped. It's going to load up, and it's loaded. And now we're going to hit save. All right, we're going to save that and then just open the preview into another tab. So nothing really fancy here on the preview page. We've got the title that we put in using the exact font name, And then we've actually uploaded the font file into this button here. So we're going to come back to this page to grab the link once we finish putting in our script. So our next step now is we're actually going to be heading over into our site settings. So this is settings at the bottom here, and we're going to the site details. So let's open that up. Once you're there, you're going to scroll down to the section that is called Page Scripts. And we're going to actually be pasting our code into the Page Scripts header here. So I'm just going to make this a bit bigger so that we can see what we're doing. We're going to pop over and grab our code. So this is the code that's provided to you under this video. Go ahead and copy that directly. Make sure you get both of the style codes there. We want to ensure that all of those are together. And let's paste that into our page script area here. So now that we've got that in there, we're going to just edit it for our specific font and as well as the specific link that we just made. So first things first, let's put in the font name. Now, as I mentioned before, it needs to be the exact name. So we had already done that here. If you have a super complicated one that's got a bunch of dashes or spaces or anything like that, make sure you copy and paste it exactly. Or you can type it in, just make sure there's no typos because that's going to be a big deal if there's a typo. And it goes in actually 2 spots. So let's paste it into both spots. It needs to be in this top part and then also in this bottom part here. And then next we need to add in our font URL. So we're going to grab that from our assets page. So the button that we put here, if we right click on it and go to copy link address, that's going to give us the address to be able to tell Kajabi where that font file is. So let's go and put that in here. Now notice that I am putting it in between the 2 apostrophes. That is one of the biggest mistakes that happens here when people are doing this is they accidentally delete those apostrophes. Those need to be in there, so make sure they're still there. Same thing with the apostrophes around the name. Those need to be there as well. That's part of the code. So there we go. We've got our link in there. That is the location of the font file. So now Kajabi can understand what file to load through this script. So just really quickly, what this all means here, this is the font name. This is where the location is. This here is what is going to be affected. So in this case, it's the header styles. We've done all 6 header styles for this example, but you can adjust these, and we'll talk about adjusting that in just a minute. Let's go check first to see if our code actually worked. So once we've done that, let's go up to the top here and hit save. And the easiest way to go check is to actually pop over to our assets page and refresh it. And look at that. There is our new font, our nice and fancy high school font. So that worked out really well. And now for this page, it's basically anything that we have set as an H1 or H2 or H3. So if I was to go and change this to one of the other header fonts and hit save, it will adjust the sizing and it will keep that font because we did tell Kajabi to use that font for all of the header styles. Now, what if you wanted to actually have the body font also be that font or another font? So let me just put in some body text here so that you can see what it looks like. So right now it's still using the default that's in Kajabi. And we're going to go and change the body text to also have this font. So I'm just going to quickly save that. So in our codes here, we have a second code in here that is for your body font. So if you wanted to put in a different font, you could. You just need to get the font name and upload the file like I showed you at the beginning of this video and get the URL. So you can go ahead and do this with another font. But just for time's sake, for this tutorial, I'm just going to use the font that I already have in there. And so if you're going to put in a new font, you're going to need to put in the whole entire code. But if I just want to use the font that I already have, I'm just going to grab this section of the code only. And I'm going to pop that into my script. Put that right in between. It goes right at the end. Underneath our header code here, we're going to have in our body code here. So font name, we got to change that one. Oops, spell it right. If I mess up the spelling, it's not going to work. So upload that. So basically now I've got the header fonts or the header styles, as well as the body paragraph styles and list styles and link styles, which is going to include pretty much everything that you would have a body font for would be included in all of this. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit save on that. And let's go refresh our page. And there we go. Our body text is now with our new font. So now, like I mentioned earlier, if you wanted to have the body text a different font, which typically you would, you're not going to have it the same as your heading, then you just need to make sure that you upload the font and you include the top part. So this top part of the code is telling Kajabi like how to access the file, right? So you gotta have that in there for any fonts that you're gonna load into your Kajabi site. You need to do this top section, and then the bottom section here. So this section here is specifically for the headers, and then this one was specifically for the body font. And now I'm gonna also add in a little extra bonus one here. If you wanted to actually do the button text as well, we'll throw that code in there too. It's just almost the same as the other ones. It's just a little bit different. So let me throw that in there for you as well. Again, if you want the button to be a different font, you need to go and do that top portion as well. But we're going to keep it the same font just for fun here. And let's change the name to the font that I want. There we go. And so there's the code for the button at the top there. And let's hit save. And check out our asset page and watch our button change. There we go. Now we have a custom font in our button. So if the code didn't work for you, then let's review a couple of the most common mistakes and see if that might be the issue for you. So number one, you want to make sure that your font link is correct. It has to be right. And so that link, remember, comes from the file that you uploaded, and copying that link address, you need to make sure that that is correct. You also want to make sure that you are keeping the apostrophes in that URL. So when we were in the script here, you want to make sure that you have that apostrophe right here at the beginning. You'll see it there, as well as right here. You want to make sure that those are still in there. Your URL is in brackets, and make sure the rest of the code is there. And you also want to make sure that there's no typos anywhere in the code, and that your code starts with that style tag. So there, style and then /style, that tells it to end the code. So you got to make sure that everything is within those. And if you're missing one, it's not going to work. And you want to make sure that you have the exact font name. I know I said that a couple times, but it is crucial. So making sure that that font name is in there, super, super important. And so those are the keys to putting in your custom code. There are other little things that you can do, but for simplicity, these are just the basics. Hopefully that will help you guys be able to get your own custom coded font inside your Kajabi site. Working with a code in Kajabi can be a bit tricky if you're new to it. If your code isn't working, drop a comment below in the video and I'll see if I can help you out. If you'd like to check out more Kajabi tutorials, visit my channel and subscribe so that you get notifications when I drop a new video.